I've been yours since that first day you carved my initials in your leg. I have been yours since the day I first saw you riding side saddle on a buffalo. The Addams family has always been known for its eccentricity and spooky charm. But did you know that behind the scenes, things were even stranger? From Carolyn Jones enduring hours of grueling makeup to transform into Morticia, to the shocking fact that the family's iconic living room was actually painted in bright pink. There are countless mysteries surrounding the original show. Even Ted Cassidy, who played Lurch, had a secret double role that few knew about. What other hidden details from this classic series might surprise you? Carolyn Jones's grueling transformation into Morticia. Becoming Morticia Addams was no simple feat for Carolyn Jones. To bring the Gothic matriarch to life, Jones had to endure an intense and lengthy daily transformation. Her portrayal of Morticia remains iconic, but behind the scenes, the process was far from glamorous. Every day, Jones spent more than 2 hours in the makeup chair undergoing a grueling transformation to achieve Morticia's signature eerie and elegant look. The first step in her transformation was her face, which had to be painted with a thick layer of pale foundation to give her the ghostly, almost ethereal appearance Morticia was known for. Her skin had to appear as if she had never seen the light of day, which required several layers of foundation, powder, and shading to get the perfect contrast with her dark costume and jet black hair. The pale look was essential, making her stand out from the rest of the Addams clan. Her eyes were the real focal point. They were heavily lined with black eyeliner, stretching beyond her natural lash line to create the dark, dramatic look that was key to Morticia's mysterious allure. This exaggerated cat-eye style gave her a haunting gaze, and black mascara and fake lashes were added to enhance the effect. The final touch was her lips, painted in deep shades of red or black. Her lipstick contrasted starkly against her pale face, completing her otherworldly appearance. Morticia's hair was just as essential to the character's look as the makeup. Jones wore a long jet black wig made from real human hair, which was styled meticulously every day. The wig had to fall perfectly over her shoulders, sleek and straight, to match the eerie, polished appearance that became Morticia's signature look. It wasn't just any black wig, it was long, luscious, and heavy, giving Jones an elegant yet haunting silhouette. Jones didn't just undergo makeup changes, her wardrobe also played a major role in creating Morticia's iconic look. The long, tight-fitting black dress Morticia wore was custom-made to accentuate her slim figure, and had long flowing sleeves that gave her an almost supernatural grace. However, the dress was so tight that it restricted Jones's movement significantly. In fact, it was so form-fitting that she could barely walk, forcing her to take small, delicate steps. This limitation led to Morticia's distinct gliding movement on screen, which became a trademark of her character. Despite the discomfort and long hours, Jones never let the transformation process affect her performance. She was determined to make Morticia as captivating and strange as possible, and she succeeded. Her portrayal of Morticia Addams became so iconic that even decades later, it's hard to imagine anyone else in the role. The Addams family's high-tech home. The Addams family may have been known for their eerie charm, but they were also unexpectedly ahead of their time, embracing technology long before it became a household staple. One of the most surprising elements of their spooky mansion was the introduction of a computer, long before personal computers were common in homes. In fact, the Addams family home was one of the first TV households to showcase a high-tech gadget like this, represented by a whimsical supercomputer named Wizzo. Wizzo made its first appearance in an episode titled The Addams Family Splurges, where Gomez and Pugsley built the machine to help with some rather unusual tasks. Wizzo wasn't your typical computer. Instead of calculating mundane numbers, it helped the family plan extravagant vacations, like a trip to the moon, which Gomez and Morticia thought would be a fantastic adventure. This wasn't just a gimmick for one episode either. The computer later played a major role in another plot, helping Gomez run his bizarre political campaign for mayor. What made Wizzo stand out wasn't just its futuristic functions, but also how seamlessly it fit into the Addams family's strange and peculiar lifestyle. Most families in the 1960s could hardly dream of having such advanced technology in their living room. But for the Addamses, owning a cutting-edge computer was just as natural as keeping a pet lion or growing exotic plants that ate flies. Wizzo's presence in their home felt as ordinary as Lurch playing the harpsichord. It was all part of the quirky charm that made the Addams family so unique. But Wizzo wasn't the only futuristic gadget in their home. The Addams family's mansion was filled with strange and wonderful inventions that reflected their love for the bizarre. Their technology wasn't just there to make life easier, it often added an extra layer of eccentricity to their already unconventional world. From strange communication devices to hidden contraptions that popped up unexpectedly, their home seemed to be a mix of Victorian Gothic style and avant-garde tech. What set the Addams family apart wasn't just their love for the strange, but how they embraced the future with open arms. At a time when most households didn't even have a television set, the Addamses were imagining space travel and using a computer for political campaigns. In a way, the Addams family's use of technology was a reflection of their outlook on life. While others may have seen computers as complicated, cold machines, the Addamses saw it as just another part of their wonderfully odd reality, a way to make life even more interesting. Charles Addams, the cartoonist behind the family. Long before the Addams family became a household name, they existed as quirky characters in the mind of their creator, Charles Addams. His career as a cartoonist started with a simple window washer sketch published in The New Yorker on February 6, 1932. However, it wasn't until several years later that the world would first glimpse the then unnamed Morticia Addams, who appeared in a few of Addams's cartoons in the late 1930s. Addams never intended to create a full family right away. In fact, Morticia existed as a standalone figure long before Gomez, Pugsley, and Wednesday were added to the mix. In interviews, Addams shared that he based Morticia on the qualities of women he admired, later admitting that her character reflected the traits he found attractive in real life. Some even speculated that Morticia resembled Addams's first wife, Barbara Jean Day, but the timeline doesn't quite fit as he hadn't met her yet. Morticia's formal debut, alongside her oddball family members, came in a one-panel cartoon published in The New Yorker in 1938. Over the years, Addams continued to expand this peculiar family in his cartoons. The family dynamic and individual personalities evolved slowly. Gomez, for instance, was added 4 years later, followed by the mischievous Pugsley and the brooding Wednesday. Uncle Fester was eventually added, with Addams humorously admitting that Fester bore some resemblance to himself, only with more hair. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, the Addams family graced the pages of The New Yorker in various darkly humorous scenarios. One of their most famous cartoons from that era showed the family joyfully preparing to pour boiling oil on unsuspecting Christmas carolers below their mansion. This particular illustration resonated so well with readers that it was even printed on holiday cards and sold to fans who appreciated Addams's macabre sense of humor. By the time the television show was in development in 1963, the Addams family members still didn't have official names. It wasn't until the producers of the show worked closely with Addams that characters like Wednesday finally got a name, derived from the nursery rhyme Wednesday's child is full of woe, and the rest of the family was given the familiar monikers we know today. Even though the show only ran for 2 seasons, it solidified the Addams family's place in pop culture history. Meanwhile, Charles Addams continued to work as a prolific cartoonist, drawing over 1,300 cartoons for The New Yorker throughout his career, with 58 of them featuring his beloved Addams family. Addams's knack for mixing the macabre with humor created a timeless legacy. His Addams family remains one of his most celebrated creations today. His ghoulish but charming characters continue to inspire adaptations across media, from animated series and films to Broadway musicals. Addams Family House. It was in this very town where Addams would develop his fascination with the macabre and eventually bring his vision to life through his cartoons. Today, Westfield honors its most famous resident with an annual celebration known as Addams Fest. This event transforms the town into a Halloween wonderland, complete with decorations, murals, and even a replica of the Addams family mansion, sitting proudly in the town's park. Visitors can walk through Westfield, stopping by various houses dressed up in Halloween splendor, each paying homage to the quirky and spooky legacy of the Addams family. One of the most iconic attractions during Addams Fest is the mansion itself. Although it is a scaled-down version of the original, Seeing it on an island in the middle of a picturesque pond makes it feel like you've stepped into one of Charles Addams's cartoons. The house stands as a testament to the creative genius of Addams and his ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. For fans of the Addams family, a trip to Westfield during Addams Fest is like stepping back in time to experience the world that inspired Charles Addams. Every corner of the town is filled with nods to the famous family, from statues of Morticia and Gomez to murals of Uncle Fester and Cousin It. Even local shops join in on the fun with window displays featuring the Creepy and Cookie clan. Beyond the decorations and festivities, Westfield holds a deep connection to Charles Addams himself. The very streets that visitors walk today are the same ones he wandered as a boy, imagining the strange characters that would eventually become the Addams family. It was here that Addams developed his love for the macabre, often spending time in graveyards and drawing what he saw. This childhood fascination with the darker side of life would go on to shape the humor and style of his work for decades to come. Ted Cassidy played 2 roles on the show. Ted Cassidy was a towering presence both on and off the screen, standing at an incredible 6'9" tall. He was most famous for his role as Lurch the Tall, imposing butler of the Addams family, who rarely spoke except for his iconic deep, drawn-out "You rang?" But what many people might not realize is that Cassidy also played another important role on the show. He was the hand behind thing, the disembodied hand that added an extra layer of mystery and quirkiness to the Addams household. Playing 2 very different characters at once came with its challenges. For Lurch, Cassidy's height and deep voice were perfect. However, when it came to playing Thing, his stature actually made things tricky. Thing was just a hand, after all, so Cassidy had to get creative to make it work on set. Most of the time, Cassidy would lie flat on a wheeled trolley, carefully hidden from the camera's view, with only his hand visible. He would then insert his hand through a small hole in a box or behind furniture to create the illusion that Thing was crawling around the house on its own. This setup allowed the Addams family's resident hand to interact with the other characters, while maintaining the show's creepy atmosphere. Of course, there were moments when Lurch and Thing had to appear on screen together. In these cases, Cassidy couldn't play both characters at the same time. To solve this, associate producer Jack Vogelin often stepped in to portray Thing, lending his own hand literally to the role. On a few rare occasions, a third actor was used, but their identity remains a mystery to this day, adding yet another layer of intrigue to the Addams family legacy. Cassidy's portrayal of Thing was more than just a visual effect. It added to the bizarre and whimsical nature of the show. One fun detail about Cassidy's approach to the role was his playfulness with the character. Most of the time, Thing appeared as a right hand, but on certain occasions, Cassidy would switch it up and use his left hand instead, just to see if anyone in the audience would notice. This little touch of mischief perfectly captured the quirky spirit of both Cassidy and the show itself. The Addams family living room was pink. When you think of the Addams family, your mind immediately goes to their spooky, eerie, black and white world. So imagine the surprise when it's revealed that their iconic living room wasn't dark and shadowy at all, it was actually bright and colorful. That's right. The Addams family's living room set was draped in shades of pink, red, turquoise, and other vibrant hues that would feel completely out of place in their famously creepy mansion. The reason behind this unexpected burst of color is that the show was filmed in black and white. This allowed the set designers to get creative with the colors of the furniture, walls, and props without worrying about how they would appear in color. They were only concerned with how things would look in terms of contrast and texture on screen in black and white. Filming in black and white meant some colors translated differently. Pinks could appear as deep grays, and certain shades of red might look dark and foreboding, which was perfect for the spooky vibe of the Addams family home. Another fun fact is that even the actors had to wear unusual shades of makeup to achieve the right look on camera. Morticia's lips, for instance, were sometimes painted in brown or green instead of the classic red we imagine. These colors, while odd in real life, made her look perfectly ghostly in the black and white world of the Addams family. This unique use of color behind the scenes created the eerie atmosphere we associate with the show, proving that sometimes things aren't quite as they seem even in the most macabre of households. Uncle Fester, despite his sometimes chaotic actions, and even his jealousy of Gomez and Morticia's relationship, remained unwaveringly loyal to his family. He was a gentle, albeit strange, figure who loved his niece and nephews unconditionally, even amidst their constant mischief. One of the oddest facts about Uncle Fester stems from the original Addams Family TV show. Jackie Coogan, the actor portraying Fester, often had to work around the technological limitations of the time. For instance, scenes featuring Fester interacting with Thing, the famous disembodied hand, presented unique challenges. Ted Cassidy, who played Lurch, frequently doubled as Thing due to his towering height, which allowed him to maneuver under tables or inside boxes to make only his hand visible. On the rare occasions when both Lurch and Thing appeared in the same scene, a third, unidentified actor was brought in to play Thing, making it one of the few times Cassidy didn't take on dual roles. Fester's mysterious past added another layer of intrigue to his character. However, later adaptations, including animated series and Netflix's Wednesday, positioned him as Gomez's brother. This shift in family ties deepened the ambiguity of his background. Yet one thing remained constant: Fester's deep connection to the Addams family's eccentric and strange history. The Addams family is unlike any other. While most people shy away from the macabre and grotesque, the Addamses embrace it wholeheartedly. They take delight in the dark and twisted, finding beauty in what others might consider horrifying. What makes them even more mysterious is their complete lack of awareness or concern about how strange they appear to outsiders. To them, their ghoulish ways are perfectly normal, and they remain blissfully unaffected by others' reactions. Interestingly, the iconic characters we know today, Gomez, Morticia Wednesday, and Pugsley, weren't given names until the 1960s. Created by Charles Addams in his New Yorker cartoons, they initially existed as a collection of quirky, spooky figures. In 1962, a doll collection gave Morticia and Wednesday their names. And by 1964, with the debut of the Addams Family television series, Gomez and Pugsley were christened as well. The family's eccentricity extended to their home, which was a character in its own right. It housed bizarre and dangerous pets, including Pugsley's Arctopus Aristotle, Morticia's carnivorous plant Cleopatra, and a lion named Kitty Cat. Not to mention Thing, the disembodied hand that silently performed tasks around the house. These strange and unnerving elements added to the Addams family's overall mystery, making them a fascinating and bizarre group that captured the imagination of generations. Gomez Addams is one of the most eccentric and charismatic characters in the Addams family. However, his name didn't always roll off the tongue. When the character was being developed for television, Charles Addams suggested two potential names, Pelly and Gomez. Ultimately, John Astin, the actor portraying Gomez in the original TV series, chose the name that would become iconic. Though Gomez is traditionally a surname in Hispanic culture, it became his first name, adding to the character's oddity. Gomez's personality, shaped largely by the TV series, became synonymous with a quirky yet proud Spanish heritage, a detail highlighted in various episodes. Despite contradictions in his backstory, such as his claims of scrimping and saving, while also being a lifelong billionaire, Gomez's character remained captivating. He often boasted about failing law school and took pride in unconventional achievements, like losing court cases while acting as a defense attorney. Despite his eccentric behavior, Gomez was a savvy businessman whose whimsical investments ranged from purchasing swamps for their scenic value to owning a buzzard farm. Above all else, Gomez's wealth and resources were always secondary to his love and devotion to his family, for whom he spared no expense in entertaining and indulging. The relationship between Morticia and Gomez Addams is legendary for its intensity and passion. At a time when TV couples were often portrayed as restrained and proper, Morticia and Gomez broke all the rules. Their on-screen chemistry was electric, and they were one of the first TV couples to imply an active romantic life. Gomez's obsession with Morticia's beauty, her French phrases, and even her arm were key elements of their bizarre yet endearing relationship. Despite their passion, the pair never shared an on-screen kiss on the lips. Instead, Gomez would passionately kiss Morticia's arm, especially whenever she spoke French. This playful and unusual dynamic set their relationship apart from the typically distant or cold portrayals of married couples on television during that era. What makes their relationship even more intriguing is the depth of their love and respect for one another. They thrived in their shared love for all things dark and gothic. Their romantic gestures, often over the top, ranged from sensual tangos to intense gazes. Yet their bond remained one of the healthiest and strongest on TV. Their ability to be completely themselves around each other, without fear of judgment, solidified their status as an iconic couple. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.